Aleichem to all near and far. Our Parashat Shelach concludes with the mitzvah of tzitzit, in which we're commanded, Vasulam tzitzit al kanfei v'gdehem l'doratam, v'natnu al tzitzit hakanaf b'til chelet. On the tzitzit, we have the mitzvah of putting on techelet. Why? The pasuk continues, Vayal lachem l'tzitzit uritem oto, u'schartem et kol mitzvot Hashem v'asitem otam. The question is, why techelet? How does it work that by having techelet in our tzitzit, it acts as a reminder for us to remember and to do all the mitzvot of Hashem? So the Gemara in Chulin and Daf Peitenim Aleph brings out a brayta which addresses this question. The brayta reads, the Tanya Rabbi Meir, Ma nishtanat techelet mikol tzivonim, mipnei shetechelet domeh liyam, v'yam domeh l'rakia, v'rakia domeh l'eben sapir, v'eben sapir domeh l'kisei hakavod. We look at the techelet reminds us of the sea, which reminds us of the rakia, which reminds us of the eben sapir, which reminds us of the kisei hakavod, and we're reminded of Hashem and His mitzvot. And here, b'shulchem, I'd like to address two questions. Question number one is, why something so indirect? Why the yam, rakia, kisei hakavod to get to Kadosh Baruch Hu? Why not something more direct? For example, the very beginning of the Shulchan Aruch, the first Ramah, Klal Gadol b'Torah u'Malar HaTzedikim Shiviti Hashem l'negdi tamei, the Mishnah Berurah in Sif Katan Daled brings a minhag they used to have of writing what was called a Shiviti. What was a Shiviti? It was a klaf. That on the klaf they'd have in the shape of a menorah written the name of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Pei Apida Rizal. And what was this for? So the Mishnah Berurah says, Vatamu b'chtei sheyeh nizkar shelo lasiach sicha b'tela b'toch hatfilah meimat Hashem. Out of fear of Hashem, they shouldn't be mevatel on talk during davening. So that I understand, they have the Shem Hashem, something much more direct. But here it's indirect. Here I have the yam to the rakia to even sapir to kisei hakavod. Why? Question number two is a grammatical one. The first pasuk of the mitzvah of tzitzit is written in the third person. Vasu lahem tzitzit b'gdehem doratam v'natnu. And then the second pasuk makes this transition to second person. Vayalachem uritem oto uskartem. And the question is, why? There are many connections between the mitzvah tzitzit and the majority of the Parashat, the story of the Chet Meraglim, and we're not going to look at all of them. But one example is one that Rashi already refers us to, which is the lashon of Vayituru. Writes Rashi, "V'lo tatzuru acharei levavchem, kimo mitur haaretz," as described in the Meraglim. Heilev v'heinayim hein meraglim leguf. They're the spies of the body, the eyes and the heart. Misarsim lo et averot, ha'ayin ro'eh, v'alev chomed, v'aguf oset avera. Before we're mitbonen into exactly the point of the machloket between Kalev and Yeshua on one hand and the rest of the Meraglim on the other hand, let's pay attention to what they're not arguing about. We look in the description of the different reports and conclusions of the Meraglim. So first we have the description of the majority of the Meraglim. In Perek Yud Gimel Pasuk of Zayin v'Yisapru lo v'yamu banu al haaretz asher shalchtanu v'gam zavat chalav udvash ze piriyah efes. כי אז העם היושב בארץ והערים בצורות גדולות מאוד וגם ידי ענק ראינו שם, עמלק יושב בארץ, הנגב, החיתי והיבוסי, etc., etc. What does Kalev respond? Kalev doesn't argue about any of the facts. Rather, he argues on their evaluation, about the fact that they feel that we're not able to enter into Eretz Canaan and to conquer the countries of Canaan. And he says we're able to. Says Kalev, Vayaz Kalev et ha'am Moshe, vayomer alon nalev yarashno ota ki yachol nuchala. Based on what did they say that we're able to? So Lachora, based on what he says in round two, right? In Perek Yudalid, in the second round, Kalev writes, it says, Im chafetz banu Hashem v'yevi otanu ala aretz azot u'natna lanu eretz asher hi zavat chalav udvash. If Hashem wants to, we have Hashem on our side. If Hashem wants to give us the land, there's no problems. There's no limitations. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us the land. And according to Chazal, in Sota and Daf Lamed Hey and Aleph, that's precisely the point that the Meraglim are arguing about. The Meraglim, back in round one, respond to Kalev and say, "V'anashim asher alu imo amru lo nuchal alot el ha'am ki chazak hu mimenu." And Rashi, famous words of Rashi, based on that Gemara, chazak hu mimenu kavyachol chalpei mala amru. The bottom line is we see that the machloket between them isn't about the facts. Rather, it's about parshanut. It's based on their interpretation, how to analyze the facts, what conclusions to reach. And here there's a fundamental lesson which we could learn. The majority of the things that we come across in life are not black or white. And it depends on how we look at them. Let's take a look at three quick examples from the story of the Meraglim. Okay? Fact number one. Rashi brings in Pasuk Lamed Bet, B'chol makom shavarnu matzanu kovrim metim. Every single place we went around, we saw that they were burying their dead. And now the question is, what's the interpretation? So one explanation is the explanation of the Meraglim. Eretz ochelet yoshvehi. This reflects negatively in the land. On the other hand, Rashi brings a different interpretation, the truthful interpretation. Continues Rashi there in Pasuk Lamed HaKadosh Baruch Hu asal tova kidei letirdam bevlam v'lo yitnu lev la'elu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to keep them busy, a smokescreen, so that we could go into the land, the Meraglim would go into the land undercover. Two different interpretations of the same fact. Fact number two, the people of Eretz Canaan didn't react to the Meraglim. Here the Sforno puts the words into the language, into the mouths of the 10 Meraglim. V'chein hayinu beinehem kechagavim o pachot mizeh uv'shvil zeh lo kamu aleinu ki lo hechshivu otanu v'yivez beinenu lahara lehem. We said they didn't react to us. Why didn't they react to us? Because Bechlal, they didn't view us as a threat. They needed to waste their time. They could deal with the entire nation later. They're not afraid of us at all. On the other hand, Kalev gives a very different interpretation to the exact same fact. You want to know, says Kalev, why they didn't react to us? Writes the Sfarno, because they're in Yeush. They're planning on running away. The pasuk says, Kalev says, Kilachmenu. So the Sforno explains, we see she'ein b'datam l'tkomem negdenu klal, kimolo she'lo yitkomem alechem neged ochlav. The same way a person wants to eat bread, the bread's not going to rebel against the person that wants to eat them. So too, as we're heading into Eretz Yisrael, the nations of Canaan have zero intention of even putting up a fight. They're planning on running away. Fact number three, Moshe Rabbeinu, when he gives us the original command, we read in Perek Yud Gimel to the Meraglim what their mission statement is, what they're meant to do. So one of the things they're meant to check is and here again the Sforno explains, he wants to know the quality of the land. How is this going to help us see? That if we see that the people are good, if we see that there's people both quantitatively and qualitatively, that reflects positively on the atmosphere, on the land, and the opposite is the opposite. What about the Meraglim? So again, the Meraglim take the same fact and they flip it around. When the Meraglim say Eretz Ochelet Yoshvei, says the Sforno, what are they intending? Even though it's true that people are strong, it's not in praise of the land. That the only ones who were left were the strongest one. Darwin, survival of the fittest. And therefore the fact that they're strong doesn't reflect positive in the land, rather reflects negatively. Bottom line is, it all depends how they looked at the same facts, how they interpreted the facts. Parenthetically, I'll mention that this idea has a tremendous influence on all of our relationships, our connections, our relationships with our spouses, our connections to our children, our friends, our colleagues, even our relationships with ourselves. But in Kamakom Larich, B'shutchem, I want to relate to one influence, which is the influence of this idea on our connection with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and with this, B'ezrat Hashem, I'll conclude. This returns us to the Parashat of the Tzitzit with which we began. This Yesod, that our experience is very much influenced by interpretation from our subjective perspective, is exactly the essence of the mitzvah of tzitzit. This is what the mitzvah of tzitzit is coming to teach us. Because there's a sort of tension. On one hand, we're told, lo taturu acharei lechem v'acharei nechem. On the other hand, we're told, uri'item oto. There's ri'ah here, and there's ri'ah over there. And the mitzvah of tzitzit is coming to protect us. How does the mitzvah of tzitzit, and when does the mitzvah of tzitzit protect us from lo taturu acharei lechem v'acharei nechem? The answer is dafka when the tzitzit are lachem. And when are tzitzit lachem? When are they yours? Specifically, uritem oto, when you see oto b'chol davar. And that's the solution, is not to allow our eyes to control us, but for us to control our eyes. L'ro'ot oto. What's oto? So literally it's the techelet. And oto is a Kadosh Baruch Hu, is to see Hashem in each and everything. The tzitzit is meant to be a constant reminder of how to interpret the reality, how to see the things around us, how to see Kedusha, how to see Hashem in everything in the world. And therefore, it's not by chance that this reminder of tzitzis is something which is indirect. It's not a shiviti, but it's the techelet, it's domele yam, that reminds me of the sea, that reminds me of the rakia, that reminds me of the Ivan Asaper, that reminds me of the kisei hakavod. It's to take everything that I find in the world, where I'm looking to the left or to the right, and to try to connect it back to Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's the essence of the mitzvah of tzitzis. We don't need a reminder to see Kedusha and Torah, to see Kedusha and Tefillah. That's Pashat. It's not difficult to see that and understand that pig is tamei, that avodah zarah is bad. The black and white, that's easy. The mitzvah of tzitzis comes to deal with everything in the middle. It's to deal with all the different shades of gray. It's not by chance that the mitzvah of tzitzit is on clothing. Clothing, on one hand, is one of the symbols of materialism, of fashion. On the other hand, it's one of our most basic necessities. It's one of the most important things that we need for every single person. There's an entire siman in the Shulchan Aruch that's dedicated exactly to this point, to avodat Hashem and Gashmias, based on the pasuk b'chol darchecha de'eu, siman reish lamed aleph in Orach Chaim, shechol kavnotav yu l'shem shamayim. Everything we do physically in this world could be connected and should be connected to avodat Hashem. Aval ein kam makom naharich. Bezrat Hashem, we should learn from the mitzvah of tzitzis how to connect every single thing in our lives to Hashem, even when it's indirectly, or especially when it's indirectly, something that Bezrat Hashem will bring us to our own shlemut in terms of ruchniut, in terms of our avodat Hashem, in terms of connecting and dedicating our lives to life of Torah and mitzvot on a personal level, and Bezrat Hashem for the benefit of all Klal Yisrael. Amen. Ken Yiratzon. Shabbat Shalom.